Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lyman Wolf podcast. I am your host, Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Nate. What's going on, bud?
Not much, just been playing video games.
Playing video games. Well, on this podcast, we're not talking about video games today. We are talking about our top 10 favorite TV shows. I know it said 5 in all the social medias, but I decided to make it 10. We're going to eliminate the honorable mentions this time because a buddy of ours said, you guys got too many honorable mentions, so just make it top 10. Figured just round it out. What you think about that?
Still gonna have honorable mentions, but yeah. No,
Wait, what? We said no honorable mentions.
You said you had no honorable mentions. I have one.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's just go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and start with your honorable mention.
Hogan's Heroes. It was an old show back in like 1965.
I've never even heard of this show.
It is a very funny show, and like I was introduced to it by my parents when I was a young kid, and it kind of inspired my love for shows that have more like a comedy, but also a more like pulling the wool over bad guys' eyes kind of thing.
So is it like a slapsticky show?
Sort of. It's a show about American soldiers in a Nazi POW prison camp.
Okay. So is it, without like diving too much, is it kind of like MASH style?
With a lot more comedy. But
Okay.
set in that kind of period. MASH, I believe, was during the Vietnam War. This was, I believe, World War II.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I guarantee any of our listeners here probably have never heard of that show unless they are like 50 plus years old.
Yeah, it basically just made fun of Nazis.
And what's the show called again?
Hogan's Heroes. The main character was Colonel Robert Hogan.
You know what? I think I have heard the name before. I think one of my podcasts I listened to grew up in the 80s, and they said their parents watched it.
Yeah. It's just a really funny little show that it's like every episode is them pulling the wool over their Nazi warden eyes because that's what they're meant to do. They allow themselves to be caught by these Nazis so that they can form kind of an underground railroad kind of thing, slipping more prisoners out of it.
Oh my God. I know why I recognize the name. Recently, I was watching an episode of The Goldbergs, and they reenacted the entire scene of Hogan's Heroes. That's why I recognize the name.
Yeah, it was a great show. Highly recommend it. It's a great binge if you're just wanting some slapstick kind of comedy with making fun of Nazis, which is always a great thing in my opinion.
All right. Well, that is a recommendation from Nate for a very old show.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to go ahead and jump into our top 10s?
Sure. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
It don't matter, whichever.
All right, I'll go ahead and start us off.
All right, go ahead.
My number 10 ran from July 7th, 2006 to March 26th, 2014, and has a few movies afterwards.
Okay.
And it had 8 seasons.
8 seasons?
It is called Psych.
Oh, dude, I tried watching that show. I got like, I want to say like 10 episodes in, and I kind of bailed.
I liked it. I love the comedy little buddy duo of the main character and his friend.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a Nate show for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm a massive fan of buddy comedy kind of stuff. It is available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, you went to straight. I didn't even think to add streaming services where to watch.
Yes, all of my picks have that except for Hogan's Heroes.
I have an idea of where most of mine are at.
That one.
I have an idea of where most of mine are at.
Yeah, the reason I know it's on Amazon Prime is because I watched it on Amazon Prime. I didn't watch it when it was airing.
Oh no, 90% of these shows on my list I watched on some streaming service.
Yeah, I think maybe 3 of the shows I have on here are from when they actually aired, and the others are from 4. I'm sorry, 4 are from when they were aired, and the others are more like I've caught them later on in life on a streaming service.
Right. So what made you like Psych?
I love detective shows, especially when they make like it has comedy elements to it. Just like the character, like being able to notice details and stuff. So like shows where like Columbo was a massive fan of it because he made himself look. He was like always making himself seem like he's not catching everything, but at the end he's like, oh, but actually, I did. I was just acting like the fool for you to let your guard down. Psych is a little bit like that. He instead of him being like, oh yeah, I'm missing details. It's literally him seeing all of the details, but nobody believes that he sees the details, so he has to act like he's psychic.
Yeah, if I remember, the whole thing was that he pretended he was a psychic when he was actually just a really good detective.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was basically trained from a very young age to be a great detective.
He's basically a modern Sherlock Holmes.
Sort of. Sherlock Holmes was more innate. This guy was like trained by his father to notice everything.
Speaking of Sherlock Holmes, I'm foreshadowing that on your list, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this just I love when they, especially when they like have great side characters who tend to not really believe the others. For example, Psych has a character that is played by an actor called what was his name? I always get his last name wrong. Timothy Omundson, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
You might know him from Supernatural. He played Kane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know who that is.
He was in Psych. No, he was Lassiter, but they called him Lassie, and he was always the skeptic of the show. He did not believe that the main character was psychic at all.
Was he in season 1?
He was in all of the seasons.
Okay, so I think I remember him. Like I said, I only got like 10 episodes in.
Yeah. In the first, like, I want to say first episode, he was the massive skeptic that was, like, kind of dating his partner secretly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got rid of that the female character in that and replaced her with another character.
Right.
Which I thought was kind of odd, but whatever. But yeah, Psych is just a really fun buddy comedy with detective elements in it.
Oh, I can see why you definitely like it, because you like that kind of like detective style shows.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of that guy.
All right, I guess that brings me down to my number 10, and my number 10 is a show that ran from 2013 to 2020. I think you can find it on Amazon Prime, because I think that's where I watched it. And it's a show I've been telling you to watch for years, and it's the show Vikings.
Okay.
The show Vikings is such a brutal... It's basically like all you Game of Thrones fan out there. It's like that kind of brutality with less nudity and no dragons. It's just lots of brutal Norse mythology lore.
Okay. Yeah. So for those interested, you can watch it on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Okay. I watched it on Prime. I guess they took it off.
Yeah. A couple of my series they removed them from the series or the streaming that I watched them on, so I had to actually find them.
I remember I was watching it on Amazon Prime, and then like at the final season I went to watch it and it was like gone. I think I had to finish it out on Hulu. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Vikings. I love all the characters. I love the lore. I love the whole, without getting into too much spoilers, like I love the fact that there's two clashing religions and having them interact with each other. I love that kind of stuff, to see two different people with different views trying to come together and like coexist, sort of. It never works out throughout humanity's, history. That doesn't work. But it's like, it's interesting to see how like, old Vikings handled it. It's just a really, really good show. And I highly recommend it for anybody who is a Game of Thrones style fan who wants something brutal to watch. I highly recommend Vikings. It's overall like a 10 out of 10. I love that show.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about it a lot when we worked together, and it did seem very interesting. The only reason I never really got into it is because I had just been on to so many other shows at the time.
The
So I
only
might pick it
negative,
up now that I'm not.
only negative I could say to you, Nate, is it is one of those shows where out of left field you might find a character you like die. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that is kind of the reason why I stay away from like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, and that's one of the reasons why I stick to buddy comedy kind of shit, because I'm like, oh no, these characters, if they kill them off, something is wrong.
Yeah, it's like there's instances where I'm like, dude, I'm really liking this character, and he's like, to war, and I'm like, no, 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 no,
And dead.
aww. So yeah,
Okay,
my number
yeah.
10 is Vikings. Like I said, you can find it on Nate Says Hulu now. So if you're interested, check it out on Hulu.
Yeah, it looked like a really fun and brutal
Yeah, and it
series.
went on for 7 seasons. So I mean, well, 7 years. It's one of those weird shows.
6 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of those weird shows where they break every season into 2 parts.
Yeah.
It's season 6, part 1. Season 6, part 2. So yeah.
I'm sorry, you cut out a moment there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm done. You go ahead and move on to your number 9.
Okay. My next pick is a show that I watched at my cousin's house when I was house sitting for them a couple years back. I had nothing else to do, so I just kind of binge watched it after a lot of people recommended it to me.
Okay.
How I Met Your Mother.
Hey, I love that show. That
It is a great
almost
show.
made my top 10.
I binged this entire show in like, I think a week. A week while I was house sitting for my cousin. And it ran from September 19th, 2005 to March 31st, 2014. It had 9 seasons.
I think I watched it on Hulu.
Yes, it is available on Hulu. And again, this is just a great little comedy sitcom kind of show where you follow the lives of a group of friends.
Here's my question. Again, without getting into spoilers, Nate. What are your thoughts on the main character, Ted Mosby?
I like him as a character. But he's
he's a douchebag.
Yes. Well, he's a douchebag when it comes to love.
Yeah. Again, don't get into spoilers. It's just.
But I'm saying, like, everything else about him is not douchebag. He's a decent fella.
He's a likable character. It's just like when you take a magnifying glass and you look into his relationships, you're like, wow, kind of an a-hole.
Yeah, but again, that's almost everybody. Like,
right,
if you take
true.
a magnifying glass to anybody, you're gonna find faults that you're not gonna like.
Because I was talking to one of my buddies a while back about How I Met Your Mother, and I was like, dude, Ted is such a good character, and he was like, really? I was like, what? And he's like, have you seen all of his past relationships? I'm like, what? They didn't work out. And he's like, bro, look
because of Ted.
I was like, look deeper, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, Ted is a likable character. He is a good character. And also I kind of feel like the whole love thing making him kind of a douchebag in that regard makes him a better character, because if it wasn't for that, he'd be a little too perfect.
Nate, I will say real fast, I'm hoping this doesn't deter anybody. Again, great show. I agree with you, Nate. The ending, though.
Yes, the ending is horrible. I much
It's
prefer...
this is like a Dexter situation, okay? Like Dexter, great show, highly recommend. The last season, you can cut that out. I mean, Game of Thrones fans say that too. Like everybody's always, oh, Game of Thrones is so great. I've never seen it, but everyone's like, oh, Game of Thrones is so great, but the last season's horrible. That's kind of how this show is.
So I don't mind the last season of How I Met Your Mother. It's the last episode of How I Met Your Mother. Because the last episode kind of takes all of the last season and throws it out the window, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But there is, if I remember correct, because when I watched it at my cousin's house, I was like, that can't be the ending. There's got to be something And so I did some research and trying to find. I found there was like an alternate ending
A better ending.
because there was like a backlash of it.
A huge like if I remember right, it was because of when it aired live, and it was like massive backlash to the studio.
Yeah, so I watched the alternate ending, and it is better,
Not great.
but only like just like
It makes me think of what's that one show that everybody said had a terrible ending, and they tried to bring it back, and it was like oh man, was it like no, not Married with Children. It's the one with Roseanne in it, where they were like, oh, the ending didn't happen.
Roseanne, the show.
Is it called just Roseanne?
Roseanne was the first show. The second show, I think, was the last name of her character.
Well, if I remember right, they tried to bring it back, and they would like the dad like died or something, and they were like, "Oh no, that was just a dream, honey. Wake up, you were having a bad dream." And it was like, "Oh, everything's fine." I'm like,
yes.
I feel like that's how this ending was.
The Connors.
That's what it is. Yup, you're right. That's what it is.
And funny you should mention that though, because that whole like him waking up from him dying or something, or her waking up from him dying, that is actually a trope in TV, because another series did an entire season where like they basically explored an alternate timeline where one of the main characters had died, and then at the very big season, a character wakes up from the nightmare, goes into the bathroom, and sees that the dead character taking a shower, and they just completely ignore everything that happened in the previous season. So that became a trope, and it was very interesting how that stuff can kind of take on a life of its own.
But yeah, that's the only reason I brought it up, is because it makes me think of that's how the alternate ending of How I Met Your Mother was. It's just like, oh, hey, that didn't really happen, guys. Ha, 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 just a dream.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see how you would come to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great show. Love the dynamics between all of the friends.
Who's your favorite character?
I'm going to say Ted and
really?
Barney, really.
Oh, man, I'd say Marshall. Marshall's my favorite character.
Marshall is the friend I want out of all of them. Like if I were to be a friend in their group, Marshall is the one I would want to rely on. Ted is the one I relate to most because he's a hopeless. Well, the trouble. Honestly, yes. Okay. Now that I think about it, because I was about to say his trouble with love is basically his fault, but that's also my problem as well. Is I don't. His problem is that he wants to seek the perfect relationship and damn the consequences of all of the other female relationships that he has.
Right.
My problem is that I'm looking for the perfect relationship, but because I don't want to be a Ted Mosby, I don't get into relationships because I don't want to hurt them when I'm like, I need to move on to find the perfect one.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah. Stupidity is what I like to call it.
All right, so that's your number 9, right?
Yes, that would be my number 9.
All right. So my next number 9, that didn't make any sense. My number 9 is a show that was on from 1994 to 1997, and you can find it on Disney Plus, and it is the show Gargoyles.
Nice. Okay.
I knew you'd think that's great. Yeah, Gargoyles is my favorite Disney Channel original cartoon. I didn't actually get into Gargoyles that much until I was older, though. So I watched it here and there as a kid, and then it kind of fell off. And then when it came to Disney Plus as an adult, I'm like, oh, dude, I remember watching these as a kid. Man, I never got to finish this show. I should get back into it. So I've been rewatching it as a 31-year-old man, and I'm like, holy crap, this show is amazing. So yeah, I love this show, dude.
Yes, it was a fantastic show. I watched it when I was a kid.
Like I said, I did too, but it wasn't as prevalent. It was more like one of those like, oh, I'll watch this until my other show comes on.
Yeah, I been a diehard fan of this show though since it came out. All of the characters were just extremely intriguing and fun to me.
We can both agree that Goliath is the best character, right?
Yeah. Well, him and Hudson. Hudson was
yeah, Hudson's also
amazing.
a great character. But yeah, I love Gargoyles. Like the show, like I said, I did watch it as a kid, and as a kid, it was kind of like, oh, cool, there's monsters that defend New York, whatever. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, dude, look at the lore of the magic, look at the lore of the past and the future, and how he travels, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
So Gargoyles is actually the only show I have actively looked into voice acting.
Well, side tangent, I don't recommend voice acting to anybody right now anymore because have you not been hearing what AI is doing? They are using AI to recreate basically characters' voices and stuff. So voice acting is a thing of the past, I feel like, in the future.
No. I meant as in the actors who voice the characters.
Oh, okay. It's just something I just read about recently is that they AI is taking over like voice acting now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge bummer because that's always been a little dream of mine when I was growing up. Was like, oh, I would love to be a voice actor.
Yeah. The Gargoyles show has a ton of great voice actors in it. 3 specifically that I've liked a lot of their stuff in. 2 of them are on my list in other shows on this
sense.
top 10 list.
I'm guessing it's the guy who voices Goliath because he's very famous for voice acting cartoons.
Keith David is not on my list, actually.
Oh, wow. That's surprising.
It's Eliza Maza,
who
the voice actress is Sally Richardson, and David Xanatos.
Oh, Xanatos, yeah.
Jonathan Frakes.
Okay.
Both of them are on my list in different shows.
But yeah, anybody who's interested in reliving their childhood, go to Disney Plus and check out Gargoyles. It's the perfect blend of like fantasy, modern 90s modern world, and yeah, I know. It's extremely dark and gritty, and it's such a good show, man.
A great blend of gothic and like high tech for some strange reason.
Yeah, the 90s seemed like they really were like the future's gonna be all experimentations and robots and mechanical stuff, and there's cyborgs everywhere, and it's like, what is like? Look at 90s comics, like what they thought the superheroes were gonna be like in the future.
Oh, there was another character. I actually though forgot he was in Gargoyles. Michael Dorn. He is also in one of my.
Who's Michael Dorn?
Michael Dorn is Coldstone.
Oh, yeah. I said cyborg, and you're like, oh!
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, that's completely right.
So, yeah, I got nothing else for Gargoyles besides go check it out. It's amazing. Relive your childhood. It's all on Disney+. And, yeah, that's my number 9 is Gargoyles.
Alrighty. Then on to my number 8. Scrubs.
Hey, that almost made my list, too.
Ran from October 2nd, 2001 to March 17th, 2010. Had 9 seasons, as well as a semi-second series.
Garbage.
Which I didn't mind.
No, it was garbage, dude. It was season 9 of Scrubs, and it was garbage.
Yeah. It could have been fleshed out better. And
there's a reason it got canceled.
I feel like it didn't get quite enough time. It
got plenty of time.
Fleshed out better. It had 1 season, recently, and not even a full season.
Me and my wife, I love Scrubs, so I had her rewatch it with me. She loved the show until we got to season 9. We got like 4 episodes in. She goes, "I'm done with this," and turned it off because it was so bad.
I mean, it reminded me of the first season.
First season of Scrubs is great. It's a work of art compared to season 9 of Scrubs.
I don't know. Either way. It is available on Hulu.
Talk about one of the world's best bromances.
Yes. Oh, hell yes.
Eagle!
There is a song on YouTube by Chester C. and Niga Higa, who...
Oh, yeah, I know.
The song is called Bromance, and every time I hear it, I imagine these two because like
JD.
they are like the best bromance ever.
Did you know that Hulu actually removed an episode of Scrubs off of their platform because there's an episode that JD wore blackface to a Halloween costume party?
Does not surprise me.
It was literally
also,
like 5 seconds of the episode, and they're like, remove the whole episode.
Yeah. I think they even they talked about that in that episode where he was like, JD was like, yeah, I didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
JD though is also like super fucking naive and innocent when it comes to any social thing whatsoever.
So would JD be your favorite character?
Yes.
See, JD's a great character, but man, my favorite character is who do you think? Who do you think?
Dr. Cox.
Oh, of course it's Dr. Cox. Yeah.
Yes. The sarcastic mentor. He's actually my second favorite character.
He's the best character.
Because, so JD is my favorite character, which you will find that a lot of my favorite characters are going to be the main characters of the shows.
Shocker.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the pro tag. But
so true though.
Dr. Cox has a great character arc throughout the series.
Again, yeah, he goes from just being the narcissistic douchebag to being the narcissistic douchebag with a heart.
Yeah, and not even he even softens up a bit throughout the series. You see very emotional moments with all of them, but because of the way Dr. Cox is, they seem to hit harder when it involves him.
Even with Dr. Kelso's stone cold heart, he softens up a little bit too.
Money. So yeah, that would be my number 8.
Dr. Kelso is the Mr. Krabs equivalent on Scrubs.
Oh hell yeah! Super nice to you and to your face, to the customers and everything.
Get them out of here if they don't have insurance.
Exactly. The moment your back is turned, he is looking for your wallet. And
Episode 1 is the best representation of his character.
Yeah, and his character does have a not a great character arc because he doesn't really change throughout the whole series.
No,
but he does have soft moments with the other characters.
Yeah. All right, so good.
Number 8.
My number 8.
Yeah.
All right, my number 8 is the show that got me super hooked on to vampires. And that would be the show. It ran from 1997 to 2003. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Nope.
Oh, this is so awkward. No.
Not Angel. Buffy. Angel's very close. I would put them neck and neck. I didn't want to put Angel and Buffy on the same top 10 because because they're basically the same show, just a continuation. It's a show about the side character. Anyways. If I'm going to look at them through a lens, I like Buffy a little bit more because not only did it run longer, but it had more character development throughout the series.
Yeah.
A lot more character. Angel, again, fantastic show. It should be an honorable mention, to be honest, but it's not. And it fleshes out the character Angel, but it doesn't do a good job of the side characters as well. Buffy focuses on everybody.
Yeah. I can agree with that in that regard. I preferred Angel because while Buffy was very good and, like you said, very character-oriented with a lot of the side characters and everything, it was still high school kids dealing with the issues of supernatural shenanigans in their town.
That doesn't bother me.
Angel was... Oh, no, I'm not saying that bothers me. I'm just saying the reason I preferred Angel was because it was supernatural being becomes detective.
You're also missing one major thing about Buffy versus Angel.
Oh, no, I'm not missing it at all.
Spike.
Because Spike later joins Angel.
I know, he does. But Spike.
I know you you like Spike over Angel.
I do.
You like the bad boy over the somewhat good guy.
And you know what's kind of funny is that me talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that is my mother's, like, one of her favorite shows of all time. And she's the one who got me into this show.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, so if she's listening at all, she's probably like, yeah, that should be number one.
Yeah, that Buffy and Angel are, like you said, kind of side by side.
Yeah, they are. So if you're talking about Buffy, so a little rundown of Buffy. It's basically, if you haven't seen the show,
The Scooby Gang.
yeah, it's like a little teenage girl in high school going through high school problems, but she's a vampire slayer with enhanced speed and strength and stuff like that. And she has to basically save the world from vampires, and that's her entire job. And a bunch of stuff happens, and she's got a little gang of friends that help her out and stuff. And it's a really fun story. And there's a bunch of love triangle garbage that happens throughout the series as well.
Romance drama.
Yeah, romance, high school drama.
Yeah.
So, if you were to say, who's your favorite character on Buffy? Is it Buffy?
Yes and no. It's Buffy tied with the werewolf guy, played by Seth Green.
Oh, Seth Green's character. Yeah, Seth Green was his werewolf character was a good character. Honestly, I really like to give it to Willow. Willow is a really cool character.
Willow is a great character.
Yeah, I think she's my favorite.
And that is understandable. Honestly, if I liked the show Buffy more, I would probably like Willow more.
We all know your favorite character is Cordelia Chase.
Not in Buffy, no.
So, side tangent to Angel. My favorite character is not Angel. My favorite character
Okay. Who would it be?
is Leslie, the lawyer guy.
Okay, that's understandable.
I love that character. He has such a redemption arc, and he's such an interesting character. I love that character so much. And, it's really stupid. So I watched Angel and Buffy. I watched them both as a teenager. Mm-hmm. Leslie, the character, the actor with the hair and stuff, I wanted my hair to be just like that. I wanted, like, the long, slicked back hair.
Real quick, are you saying Leslie or Wesley?
Leslie, the lawyer. Not Wesley, the hunter.
So you're talking about Lindsay.
Lindsay, that's what I meant to say. Lindsay, not Leslie.
All right. I was getting a little confused. I'm like, is he saying Wesley? Because I don't remember him.
No, it's Lindsay. I always mix their names up. It's either Lindsay or Leslie. It's one of the two.
Okay.
Lindsay. I always loved that dude's look. I always wanted hair like that, like the long, slicked back hair.
Christian Kane.
Yeah.
Plays a very good roughneck kind of character. And
you know what's interesting is Christian Kane. He actually is a country artist as well. He has music.
Yes.
And I listen to it. I'm not a country guy at all. I don't really like country. I like his music. And it's mostly because I like his character on Angel.
I'm guessing you like Christian Kane's music and Jensen Ackles.
Yes.
Music. Yes. Two roughnecks in their shows.
So yeah, I love both those shows, but I have to give it to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I want to say it's on Hulu. I think so, because I think that's where I watched it.
Let me check real quick.
I'm almost positive. I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu. So yeah.
Yes, it is on Hulu.
That is my number 8. I knew it would be a show we both agreed on. We both like. And what is your number 7, Nate?
Speaking of Christian Kane, actually.
Really?
He is in my 7th pick. Leverage.
Really? Leverage. I've never seen that show. I think you've mentioned it once.
Leverage is a group of criminals headed by a insurance investigator. They decide to get back at the criminal world and kind of pull off. It's kind of like a Robin Hood kind of thing.
Okay.
They pull off cons. I'm a big sucker for con men, slick talking characters, and they always pull off like Ocean's 11 style heists or tricks on bad guys to get them to basically confess their own crimes so that they go to jail and shit. And Christian Kane is a member of that. He is the kind of the muscle of the group, who has like a background in country music. They even do an episode where they explore his character's background, and they make him into a country singer in order to kind of expose a country music records problem stuff. And yeah, it is a great show. Highly recommend it, especially to you, since I know you love like Robin Hood kind of stuff.
I do love that kind of shows.
And like I said, Christian Kane is in it. He's Christian Kane. He plays a roughneck Lindsay, basically.
Heck yeah. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it is a fun show. They just started a new series. I think it's called Leverage Redemption. I've watched maybe 2 episodes. It's okay. It's not as great as the original, but
What's the show? Leverage? You said it's called Leverage?
Yes. It ran from December 7th, 2008 to December 25th, 2012 and had 5 seasons.
So if you were to describe the tone of the show, what type of show are we talking about? Like is it like one of those like 45-minute, drama shows kind of thing?
It is. I think it is a 45-minute show, but drama-wise, it does have drama in it, but mainly it's comedy.
Okay, cool.
Basically, think if you take a little bit of the dynamics of How I Met Your Mother,
okay,
take Robin Hood actions,
awesome,
and like GTA style crime, throw them all together.
So you think I'd like this show?
Yes, I do think you would like it.
Okay.
Mainly because there are 2 characters, Christian Kane's character and another character named Hardison. They're a great little bromance kind of thing it's more of like a rivalry.
Sorry. You said this is on what streaming service?
Amazon Prime.
And it's on Prime, like to watch on Prime?
Yes, it is to watch on Prime.
I might have to look into that. That sounds actually pretty cool.
Yes. Highly recommend it for anybody. One of my all-time favorite shows. If you are dissuaded by like actors and whatnot due to like the stuff they have done, maybe give it a pass.
Wait, what are you talking about?
One of the main actors in it is
who is it?
It's Timothy something. He did something. I don't really remember what exactly.
Timothy
Hutton.
Timothy Hutton. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he did. He did not return for the second series. They straight up killed his character off. Which is a shame. I really liked his character. His character is one of the reasons so much, his interactions with all of the others. But whatever. It is what it is. That's Hollywood for
Can't
you.
change it,
Yeah. And the average runtime for an episode is like 42 minutes.
Oh, it's a normal TV show. All right, cool. Yeah, I actually might look into that show. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Alrighty.
We on number 7?
I believe so.
Okay. So my number 7 is a show that I grew up on. It's another one of those like I'm reliving my childhood. This show will always be awesome to me. And that is the show Jackie Chan Adventures.
Okay.
Jackie Chan Adventures was a not CW, Kids WB show.
Yeah.
And man, I remember every single morning, Saturday morning cartoon, I was like, all right, get my bowl of cereal. Here we go. Gonna watch the best show on Kids W Network or Kids WB or whatever. And it was Jackie Chan Adventures. I love the whole idea of Jackie Chan. I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan. Like, Jackie Chan is literally like I would say probably my second favorite actor of all time. I love Jackie Chan. And this was the idea of Jackie Chan having his own little family and his own little thing, fighting magical creatures with magical little talismans and fighting demons and stuff. Oh, it's such a good show. Like, you've seen the show, haven't you?
Yes.
You like this show.
Yeah, this was a great show. Like you, I'm a massive Jackie Chan fan. I grew up on the movies. Me and my dad would watch them all the time. and I would even try to like perform some of his martial arts by myself.
Me too.
Jackie Chan Adventures, because I love cartoons, was like the perfect cartoon for me at the time because
I love it. As an adult, I was like, man, I want to watch Jackie Chan Adventures. I don't think it's on any streaming service, unfortunately. But I was like, I found it on Amazon Prime, like to purchase, and I bought season 1 and 2. I think they were like $15 a season. And I owned the first 2 seasons of Jackie Chan. I was going to buy more, but I just never got around to it. I love the show.
So I just went to Amazon Prime. I can watch. It had 5 episodes,
5 seasons,
or 5 seasons. I mean,
yeah. Oh, it ran from 2000 to 2005.
Yeah, I can watch all 5 seasons on Amazon Prime.
God damn it! It wasn't available when I bought it.
Yeah, so it is available to you now.
Oh, that's such a bummer. I wasted my money.
Well, no, because they can always take it off,
Yeah,
and you'll
true.
own it, so that's fine.
But yeah, I love the show, dude. The idea of like they even show character development in the show. Like some bad guys become heroes, some heroes become bad guys. Like I love this show, man.
As you know, I love power picking.
Yeah.
Stuff. One of the reasons why I really like the last episode of our podcast.
Yeah, with the power picks.
This is like, it's not the start of my love for it, but this was
with the talismans.
Yeah, this was a great like it just made it all the better for me because it was literally a power pick for Jackie Chan.
What's your favorite talisman?
I don't remember which one it does, but the power is that it splits you into good and evil.
That is the tiger talisman.
All right, that one. I love the idea.
Such a funny episode.
It is. I love like goody two shoes, cowardly Jackie seeing like super badass kind of asshole Jackie.
Like, am I not getting the talismans? I don't care who I hurt. Like, dude, bro, calm down.
Yeah. But like I love when shows do that in their episodes. Like there was another show, it should have been an honorable mention. I completely forgot about it until just this moment, called Red Dwarf, that had an episode where the main characters met evil versions of themselves and good versions of themselves. And I love the dynamics of interactions between your light and dark sides.
So speaking of honorable mentions that should have been mentioned, another show that was on the Kids WB that I just remembered is, you remember the show Shaolin Showdown?
Mm-hmm.
They had like artifacts that gave them powers.
Yes.
That show was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was a very good show.
I love the little like tiger claw thingy that could open portals and you could teleport. That was my favorite one. No, speaking of Jackie Chan, really quick, I do plan on in the future, so keep this in the back of your mind, Nate. We're gonna do a podcast episode ranking our favorite Jackie Chan movies.
Okay.
That's down the road, but just keep that in the back of your mind.
For all you fans out there, spread the word.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 7 is Jackie Chan Adventures from 2000 to 2005.
Awesome. So on to my number 6, and I'm going to tell you right now, my number 6 is not a show you would like ever.
Awesome. I love hearing that.
Yes. I wish you would, because I love the show. It's only got 2 seasons. It ran from January 4th, 2015 to January 31st, 2016. Had 2 seasons. It's available on Hulu.
Okay.
Called Gallavant.
Never heard of this show.
You've forgotten. I've told you about this show before.
That tracks. That sounds like me.
And when I told you about it, you said that sounds like hot garbage and the worst thing imaginable.
That also tracks. I don't think I was that harsh, but that sounds about right.
Oh, when I retell you, you'll probably agree with it.
Okay.
It is a musical show.
Oh, sounds like hot garbage.
Yes, because I know how much you despise musical episodes.
I'm not the only one, Nate. That's like 90% of America.
It's so sad. Well, no, because Glee, although I actually didn't watch very much of Glee, was very popular.
Speaking of hot garbage.
So most of America at least liked Glee, and Glee was a very musical show.
Yes.
Anyway, back to Gallavant. Gallavant is a medieval style show where the main character is all about trying to rescue this kingdom from a tyrant king who invaded this kingdom.
With songs?
No. Songs are... like, they just incorporate songs like a musical would. Like, songs have really nothing to do with it. Though I will say, they do kind of break meta
This
a
makes
couple
me
of
think
times.
of High School Musical medieval style.
It basically is.
Oh, yuck.
And,
Gotta get your head in the game.
so it also had Timothy Omenson in it.
Is that the controversial guy?
No, that was Timothy Hutton. Timothy Omenson is the guy from Psych.
Okay.
Kane from Supernatural and Lassie from Psych. He was the king he was the bad guy in the Gallavant series. But he was a very inept bad king. He was very spoiled and bratty. He even has a character arc in the second season, which I thought was great. But yeah, it was just a really fun fun series that had decent music, not great, but decent. If you're a fan of musicals like I am, if you're a fan of fighting and just the hero's story, highly recommend this one. It is a very quick watch. Again, only 2 seasons. It had some pretty good cameos. They had Weird Al.
Oh, wow. That's surprising.
Yeah.
Did he bring his accordion?
No, but they played Weird Al like perfectly because he was a part of a monkhood. He was a
okay.
That they were the monks who could only sing. So whenever you would ask them a question, they would have to sing to answer it.
That sounds terrible.
No.
This show sounds so bad.
In that one regard, it is terrible because it's like they will meta and be like, if you sing one more answer, I will rip your tongue. And he's like, okay, look, I'll give you the answer. Just don't rip my tongue out. That's fine. It's the one time they actually discourage singing in this show. And it was just so great and hilarious. You've got like pirates, but they're on land because they like shipwrecked their ship. They have giants who are small giants, and then dwarves who are tall dwarves. So many great things in this show. I wish more people would give it the time of day. I know you wouldn't, simply because I know your tastes.
I don't think I'm the only one, Nate. Our buddy Ty would agree with me 100%.
Oh yeah, no, Ty wouldn't either.
I think you mentioned this show to him, and he was like, garbage.
No, well, he didn't. He wasn't quite as harsh as you.
I would never be harsh.
He was just more like, yeah, I don't think so. Nah. But yeah, highly recommend it for anybody who does enjoy musicals, anybody who does enjoy medieval adventure, and magic and swords and whatnot.
I mean, if that sounds all fun and dandy and stuff, if you take out the musical part.
Yeah, if I could find and edit it, like, I would, because I genuinely think you would find the storyline.
I would be enjoying
funny.
the story, and also they'd be like, and then just cuts, and then they come back and be like, oh, all right, well, back to the story.
Yeah, it is such a great show. Anyway, that was my number 6. What's yours?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
all right.
Also, you can watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, I won't be doing
I'm
that.
not sure if I mentioned that.
I don't think you did.
Our fans, not you. Our listeners and viewers.
All right. So my number 6 is, honestly, it is my favorite child show growing up. This is probably my favorite show growing up as a kid. And it is my second favorite animated show of all time. And that is, it only lasted for 3 years. 3 seasons. 2005 to 2008. Any guesses?
American Dragon Jake Long.
I've never even seen that show. No.
Oh, no.
Wasn't that on for like 7 years?
I honestly don't know. I just said the first cartoon.
It's a Nickelodeon show, and it is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Now it makes more sense.
Yeah, I always forget that it only ran for 3 years.
Dude, 3 books, 3 seasons.
Yeah, because whenever I think of it, I think of the 4 elements. So I associate like 4 chapters.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, the entire synopsis is the Air Nation has been killed off, so there are only 3 chapters because there is no Air Nation.
I get it. It just, every time I think about it, that's how I think of it.
I mean, if you go to Legend of Korra, there's 4 chapters. I mean, that's a whole nother show, though. And it's amazing, Nate. You need to watch it.
I will eventually.
No, you won't. Don't lie. I've been telling you to watch it for 4 years now, and you haven't done it.
It's because I got other shows I'm watching.
No. Anyways, Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite kids cartoon ever made because, honestly, it's not even a kids cartoon. I mean, it is technically, but it has some, like, adult themes. Like, it has some, like, pretty harsh crap that happens in it.
Yeah, but I will say that a lot of the great cartoons do explore more adult themes.
Like, look at Gargoyles.
Yeah, because it's like them trying to prepare kids for what is to come.
And what I loved about Avatar, what hooked me into Avatar as a kid, was when we're talking about this on the superpower thing, I love the idea of controlling the elements. It's one of my favorite superpowers of all time. And this kid was the Avatar who could control all 4 elements. And it was him learning to do that and growing and basically having to save the world with, like, the knowledge he learned from control. It's such a good, amazing show. And it's the perfect show for any young kids out there that want to watch, like, what their parents watched as a kid. I highly recommend any parents that have, like, you know, school kid age kids, show them Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's on Paramount Plus because Paramount owns everything Nickelodeon now. It is. Do you have anything negative to say about the show, Nate? It's just such a good show.
No, my favorite part of it was Batman. So
Batman.
Yeah, Sokka.
Oh, the boomerang guy.
Sokka was Batman in this show. He had no powers like everybody else did. He utilized tools and fighting techniques to actually, be effective like Batman. Like, he was the Batman of the show.
You're ignoring the best character in the show, who is my favorite character in the show, and that is Toph.
I'm not ignoring her. She was a great character.
No, she is the best character.
She was the inventor of metal bending.
Yeah, she literally created her own class of bending that continued on in Korra, which you need to watch.
I will say, like, one of the things... I also really loved Avatar.
I'm surprised it's not on your list, honestly.
I actually did not put any animated shows on my list because I'm mainly going to have us do an animated list as well.
I'm gonna tell you right now, some of these shows are gonna be repeated on there.
That's fine. I just didn't want to, I figured you would on this one, so I didn't want us both to be doing repeats.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you didn't want to do animated.
No, it wasn't discussed. It was more my own personal thing.
Okay.
I didn't want to put limits on you because I knew you would probably have some animated on here.
Oh, yeah. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 animated shows on my list.
But for me personally, I really did like this show for a lot of the same reasons. But I will say Sokka was probably my second favorite character, simply because...
Who's your one? Who's your first?
Aang.
Oh, Aang is a cool character, but he's such a flawed character.
He is, and that's actually the reason I like him so much, is because usually you have protags who aren't, they have maybe 1 or 2 flaws. Aang has a boatload of them.
Aang straight up, the beginning of the show, without getting again too many spoilers, the whole reason the show even exists is because he ran away from his problems.
Yeah. Aang has a boatload of flaws, and that's one of the reasons why he'd probably be one of my favorite animated protags out there. He's definitely top 10 in that regard.
I feel like your opinion on Aang is going to change drastically if you watch Legend of Korra.
Maybe that's why I should avoid it.
No, it's like a thing they mentioned in like one episode, and it's like 5 minutes of discussion. They're like, Aang did this? Really?
I will say that because I also read the comics, the graphic novels, after the show ended, that my like for Aang did decrease.
I don't know why they went in this direction with Aang at all.
Yeah, it went the exact opposite of what Aang was.
He was like, whatever. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want the world to be in peace. And then the show ended and immediately was like, no, you're wrong. Peace is not an option anymore. We have to do things by the book. Well, like, what?
Even then, like, he's still, like, in the comics, he talks about how he wants peace. It's just his way of going about to get peace was weird. Like, all of a sudden, he's like, oh, yeah, no, we need to keep people separated. Like, what? You're literally dating outside your tribe, Aang.
And now that you're the avatar, you know, the connector of all 4 elements, the connect all 4 nations.
Yeah, like, what is going on here? But anyway.
Yeah, that's my number 6 is Avatar. I would say this is probably my favorite Nickelodeon show ever. Growing up as a kid, it was Avatar and Drake and Josh. Those were my 2 big Nickelodeon shows that I loved.
I would have to go back and look because...
Oh, don't worry. We're going to be doing an entire list of Nickelodeons, Cartoon Networks. I got it all mapped out, man.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't watch Nickelodeon, like kid shows. I mainly watched like Nick at Night kind of stuff. So I was
those don't count. Those are TBS shows that got put on to Nickelodeon.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is like I'm not.
You better be talking about.
I'll have to take a look at the
Ned's Declassified and stuff like that. That's Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I actually had just started listening to a podcast about with Ned Declassified's main actors.
Anyways, we need to move on. Go to your number 5.
My number 5 ran from September 17th, 2013 to September 16th, 2021. Had 6 seasons, and it is on HBO Max.
You said 17 to 21? What did you say the years were?
September 17th, 2013 to September 16th, 2021.
Oh, so it's recently ended.
Yes. It had 8 seasons, and I only actually discovered this in 2020, I think. Because
I think I know what you're going to say.
Because of quarantine and whatnot. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah! I agree with you. I watched this recently as well. Me and my wife watched the entire series. I think we started it in 2021.
Yeah, I was on lockdown for a bit. I came across, I was like, you know what? I like Lonely Island music. It's kind of funny.
I love Andy Samberg so much.
I'm going to check out this show. I had heard mostly good things. Then I found out Terry Crews was in it. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It just, the enjoyment of it just kept getting better.
Until the last season.
No, even in the last season.
For me and my wife, the last season was not a bad season. It was just kind of a letdown of a season.
Not for me at all. It was the natural conclusion to the series. It was like it was like a speeding train. You start out, the train's going really fast, but in order for it to arrive at its destination, you got to slow the train down for it to get there, and that's exactly what the last season did.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And yeah, to keep with the train analogy, it was a train ride. It took you through scenery that you love, meeting all these characters, learning their backstories, the fun that they all have together. I absolutely just love the series. And some of my favorite episodes obviously are the Halloween heist episodes because
those
I love
are great.
heist kind of stuff.
I also love the episodes where Craig Robinson's character the one he becomes friends with Jake after a while. He's the car thief.
I know
the Pontiac Bandit.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite episodes. What was his name?
I think Judy.
Judy, that's him. Yep.
Yeah.
You don't know. You know another.
That was
go ahead.
Such a great bromance.
You know another underrated great episode that I absolutely love is the episode they did where they crossed over with the show New Girl. Well, that's another. I guess another honorable mention. I love that show, but like in that show, Jessie from New Girl is visiting New York for I don't remember what reason, but she's there, and he's like, "Freeze! I need to take this car. It's a police matter," and he just gets into Jessie's car. And, like, they have their own little adventure on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then me and my wife, after we finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we moved on to New Girl because we never watched that show. And there's an episode in New Girl, her going to New York, running into Jake. It's the same. It's, like, not the same episode, but it's, like, two sides of a coin. It was such a cool...
different perspectives.
It was such a cool little tidbit they added in.
Yes, it also created a nice little meme where, like, it has Jesse looking at Jake and like, how do I know this? And he's like, he gives her an answer. He's like, yeah, no, I set the bar way too low on that. Yeah, okay. That first off, I love how the fact we started this podcast saying there's going to be like one honorable mention. We've had, I think, 6.
No, and we haven't gone into deep. But we just kind of like mentioned, I like the show.
But we do, we just keep mentioning them. I'm all for it. I'm gonna keep going. New Girl was a great show. I'll mention on that. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was just pure fun. I cannot think of one bad thing.
There's not really any negative episodes. Besides, like I said, maybe the last season kind of petered out a little bit, but it wasn't bad. But for overall, like the whole series was just every episode was hilarious.
Yeah, it tackled. Everything it went into was just great. One of my favorite, like they weren't full on episodes, but there were like little bits in some of the episodes where they showed the past of the 2 older cops in the and the 2 older cops who are like super
total badasses,
slobbish in their old age, like barely competent, not even really competent at all.
No.
Shows them in the past, and they're like the perfect 80s style.
Who are they? It was Sully. It was Sully and who? What was the other guy's name?
I'm blanking.
I am too. That's all right. But yeah, everybody knows what you're talking about if you watch the show.
Yeah, they were like complete stereotypical badass 70s to 80s cops.
They all had like huge mustaches and everything.
They were built like crazy.
And they're like, "That's you, Sully? What happened to you?"
Yeah, what's going on? And they're like, "What do you mean?"
We had donuts.
Yeah, it just was such a great little bit that they would mingle into some of the episodes that I loved. But yeah, it was just in a time of just uncertainty in our lives. That was a great show of brevity.
I agree. That was a fantastic show. I love how we both basically watched the show at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I feel like 2020 was a time for binge watching shows.
Like I said, I think I did it in 2021, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. During the COVID pandemic, which is still going on in a way.
No, it's not.
That was very much the time to start watching shows and catching up on shows that maybe you haven't seen or haven't been keeping up with.
Right.
So what would your number 5 be?
My number 5 is a show I've actually mentioned on previous podcasts before. It was a show that was mentioned on the 1980s movie podcast. And it ran from 2018 to 2023. This is actually the final season that's coming out on Netflix. And it is Cobra Kai!
Oh, it's finally ending, huh?
Shut up, Nate. I've been telling you to watch this show for 5 years now.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie on this one. I'm probably not going to watch this.
Why? There's no reason to not watch it. It's such a good show.
I was a fan of The Karate Kid, but I was not a massive fan. I enjoyed the movie.
Man, I love every single Karate Kid movie, every single thing about this show. This is my favorite Netflix original. I mean, it wasn't started as a Netflix original, but it's finished as a Netflix original. But I'd say this is my favorite Netflix original show. I love Cobra Kai. I love that it fleshes out the characters from the movies that we had. We saw one-dimensional characters from the movies. They fleshed them out so much in this show.
It does sound like a great show for fans of the franchise.
And that would be me.
Yes. If you are a fan of the Karate Kid movies, then from everything I've heard, I highly recommend Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Every season they introduce a little character from... So, the original trilogy, there's 3 movies, and Cobra Kai, every season, introduces a new character from the original trilogy. So they've introduced basically every major and minor character they can from the trilogy, and there's one more season left. So I've been seeing rumors that they think that there might be Sigourney Weaver might show up from the really bad off-brand Karate Kid movie they did with her. Somebody tried to say Jaden Smith from the remake. I'm like, nobody wants that.
I mean, if it was the character, I wouldn't mind.
Jaden Smith does not look like he did when he did Karate Kid in 2010. He looks very different now.
Okay, makeup artists can do miracles, my friend.
I'm just saying. But no, I've been seeing lots of rumors that those 2 characters might make an appearance, and I'm like, Sigourney Weaver, maybe? Because in her movie, at least she had a tie to Mr. Miyagi. Jaden Smith had no ties to Mr. Miyagi at all.
Genuinely do not remember Sigourney Weaver in Karate Kid.
So, there's Karate Kid 1, then there's Karate Kid 2 where he goes to Japan, then there's Karate Kid 3 where he joins the Cobra Kais. And then there was a 4th Karate Kid movie, but it was called Karate Kid something. It was like...
The Next Karate Kid.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And the only connection it had was Mr. Miyagi. Daniel Russo left. He moved on with his life. Mr. Miyagi found a new student, Sigourney Weaver's character. Or not Sigourney Weaver. What's her name? I keep saying that name. That's wrong.
Okay. You're talking about Hilary Swank.
That's who. I don't know. Where does Sigourney Weaver come from?
I don't know. I'm like, I do not remember her in any of the movies. What?
That's the chick from Aliens, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know why I thought that name. That is wrong. It is Hilary Swank.
Yes.
My bad. Very different people.
I was so confused at that.
Yeah, you don't know that when she's done fighting aliens, she joins a dojo to learn karate.
Apparently. I mean, I probably would be trying to train to fight aliens.
No, Hilary Swank is who I meant to say, not Sigourney Weaver. I'm an idiot. Comment below how stupid I am. No, Hilary Swank.
Played Julie Pierce.
What?
She played Julie Pierce.
Yeah. She's the person that they've been hinting at, maybe that she might join Cobra Kai for the last season. Because in that movie, like I said, Daniel Russo's gone, and she's struggling through high school or something. It was not a good movie, by the way. It was pretty garbage. But Mr. Miyagi sees she's struggling, trains her, and then she becomes the quote-unquote next Karate Kid. It's not great, but there's at least a tie to Mr. Miyagi.
So then we're going to get Cobra Kai, the animated series, like the Karate Kid did, right?
I'd be down.
You'd be okay.
Hey, there's a Cobra Kai video game that I bought, and it is absolutely fantastic. It is a side-scroller Streets of Rage style Karate Kid movie, and it's or video game, and it's awesome.
That sounds kind of actually perfect for that franchise.
It is extremely 80s, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show, I love all the characters. Like I said, they flesh out old characters, bring light to new characters. The new cast is awesome. The main character of Cobra Kai, of the kids, is the kid who's going to be playing Blue Beetle in the DC universe.
Okay.
So that is something I'm super looking forward to because I love him in Cobra Kai. So yeah, I highly recommend any fans out there of the Karate Kid movies. Check out Cobra Kai on Netflix. Last season comes out this year. It is a 10 out of 10 perfect show.
Awesome.
So what is your number 4?
My number 4 is a show that ran from September 24th, 2007 to January 27th, 2012.
Okay.
It had 6 seasons and it is on HBO Max. This is one of the shows I watched when it was aired, and then I've just kind of rewatched it quite a few times over the years ever since it got on streaming. Chuck.
Oh, you've mentioned this show a bunch.
Yes. I love this show.
It's
It
Shazam.
introduced me. Yeah, it introduced me to quite a few actors and stuff that I really, whenever I see these actors in something, I am immediately interested in it. Zachary Levi, who is Shazam, plays Chuck, the main character. You got Yvonne Stravosky, Sarah Walker, Brandon Ruth, who played the Atom in the
Oh yeah, Superman.
WDC stuff.
Yeah, I love that guy. I love that actor.
You got Matt Bomer, who was in another show that I really liked, White Collar.
I know that name.
He is the guy from. I'm blanking on it's a DC show that we both love with Brendan Fraser as the Metal Man.
Oh, Doom Patrol.
Yes, Doom Patrol. Matt Bomer is the radioactive pilot.
Oh, Larry.
Yes. Man,
That guy's-
it's been a while since I've seen that show.
That show's great.
Need a new season of that soon.
Oh, it's been canceled, so.
Oh no.
Yeah, Doom Patrol got canceled and it got canned with everything DC because of rebooting the universe.
That's harsh. Anyway, on to better topics, I guess. Chuck, great show. Was not a massive fan of the ending.
So real quick,
But-
explain how Chuck, what kind of show is it? Because it's been something you've been talking about for years. It's always been something I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get around to it. What is it about?
All right. Chuck is a comedy and action movie, or show, I should say. First and foremost.
Okay.
It is about a equivalent of a Best Buy employee getting all of the knowledge of the Secret Service's database stuck in his head.
What?
That includes like fighting styles and
Okay, I had no idea this was what this show's about. Now I'm actually interested.
yeah. So like he's himself, but whenever something occurs, like if someone throws a punch at him, all of a sudden he'll know how to defend himself.
Nate, this kind of sounds like that show Limitless.
Sort of. Limitless. Limitless is a little bit more like you get the drug, and then once you've taken the drug, you have unlocked everything. You have unlocked everything that you know, but it's specifically what you know. This is basically whatever the Secret Service knows.
Interesting. This sounds cool. I actually might look into this show.
Yeah,
You've been talking about it for years, and I had no idea what the plot was. I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, it is like the Secret Service finds out that he has all this information, and so they basically make him try to help him be a spy. So he's like a average Joe trying to be a spy who's also a massive nerd while keeping his life separate from his family and friends. And it is a great little comedy action show.
So that's why you like it so much, is that he's just a normal dude with all this knowledge?
Basically, the real draw to it for me is the interactions between all of the characters. Again, I'm a real big comedy fan, and him and his best friend Morgan are like massive nerds. And a lot of the time they will reference something, and I'm like, oh, I actually get that. That's cool. Or he'll be doing a really cool spy stunt, and he'll be like, damn, if only Morgan could see me do this, like he would geek out so much about this. And then you've got Brandon Roth's character, who, never mind, that's a spoiler. He's a great character. He does an amazing job.
Well,
highly recommend this show.
Yeah, I will probably check that out at some point.
Yes, it is on HBO Max and has 6 seasons. It is also a very good binging show. if I know quite a few of my friends really like don't like having to wait for episodes to come out.
I'm one of those people.
And if they can sit down to kind of binge the show, this is one of those shows that is a really good binge watch.
That's how I feel about Cobra Kai. I've been just waiting for the final season to drop.
Yeah. I highly recommend you and your wife to sit down and watch this. It's
a little difficult
full of laughs.
to sit down and watch shows right now, but we'll give it a shot.
Understandable, yeah. But when you get the chance, highly recommend it because I think both of you would like it.
It sounds cool. Like I said, you've been talking about it for years. I never really knew what it was about.
Yeah, I don't want to get into...
It's one of those shows where the title kind of, like, deters me. Like,
yeah,
the show's called Chuck. That sounds stupid.
It's because it's the character's name. And that it is, like, a thing in the show. Like, they'll be like, this legendary spy. What's his name? James Bond. Chuck. What? Like...
All right, so anything else?
Nope, that is it. What would your number 4 be?
My number 4 is a show that I don't think you'll like. Okay. It is the perfect show for my sense of humor. It is dark, gritty, and hilarious. It came out in 1999, and it is currently still going on. And that is the show South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it literally describes my personality to a T. How my sense of style of comedy, isn't it?
Sort of. I will say there are some episodes I do enjoy. There are some episodes I don't enjoy. This is a very hit or miss.
No, I love almost every episode of this show.
Yeah, this is a hit or miss for me.
I love this show. This show, it is not afraid to take the kid gloves off and just talk about anything, anyone, or anybody. Like, they are like, oh, you're in the media right now? We're going to roast the absolute living shit out of you.
Yeah.
Recently, there's been an episode, I haven't watched it yet, but there's a new episode out where him and the kids all talk about just roasting Meghan Markle and Henry, whatever his name is, the Prince Henry.
Yeah.
their little, like, relationship. And it's just them talking about how... we want to be left alone. We don't want to be in the spotlight. And it's them saying that at their mansion with, like, a parade going on, with fireworks going on. Like, don't focus on us, guys. Don't focus on us.
Yeah.
That show's so funny. And it's like, there's so many memes out now. So many, like, things I reference about this show. This show has been sued probably the most out of any television show ever made.
It is a hit or miss for me. The main thing that I'm not a fan of is the animation style.
Oh, see, that don't bother me. None. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. The animation style makes me laugh even. How they portray Canadians is so funny. With the heads bobbing up and down. Oh my god.
Another thing is that whenever I try to get into a show, I have to like a character.
Cartman's likable.
Cartman actually, like, he detracts. If I like a character, there are times when they'll introduce a character or they'll have a character I'll be like, okay, I'm kind of liking this character. Cartman will enter the scene and ruin the entire... I'm like...
I love Cartman so much. He's probably one of my favorite characters of all time.
There is one specific episode that really just annoys the hell out of me with Cartman. It's the one where he, like, feeds a kid chili. You know what I'm talking about. That's fucked up.
That's so funny.
That is...
I love dark humor, and this show is just, like...
I don't mind...
the perfect blend of dark humor.
I don't mind dark humor.
I love dark humor.
That is dark for darkness' sake.
I know.
That is... I don't...
Did you ever see the episode... Did you ever see the episode where Kenny starts getting high on cat pee?
No. And I'm glad. Yeah, South Park.
I love South Park.
So high on your list too,
dude. It's number 4.
Oh man.
I told you, man.
To each their own.
South Park is the perfect definition of my style of comedy.
This is
the different styles of there's 2 major styles of comedy that I love, which is South Park style, dark humor, and then my number 3 that I'll mention in a minute. But yeah, those 2 types I love those types of comedy. They're so funny. And they so South Park is streaming on 2 platforms. South Park, the TV show, is on HBO Max. South Park has a lot of movies, and for some reason, South Park's movies are only available on Paramount Plus. I don't know what kind of deal they made, but the show's on HBO and the movies are on Paramount.
That is odd.
Yeah, and highly recommend the South Park video games.
Now I will
the
say,
Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole are 2 of the best.
I did try to play those.
Those are some of the best turn-based, hilarious video games ever.
I did try to play those because I am a sucker for character customization.
Yep. Yeah. And you gave it a 10 out of 10, a great game, right?
I don't even think I beat them.
So this is kind of a spoiler, but who cares? It's the final secret boss and the Stick of Truth is you have to fight Morgan Freeman, who works at Subway.
Yes, I know. I've seen lists where they've talked about this show,
and he's one of the hardest bosses ever to beat.
I think basically with the show, the reason I kind of stopped playing was just how annoying Cartman is to me.
Oh, I love Cartman. He's probably my favorite.
Every time I would have to interact with him, I'm just like, can I skip?
All right, so we need to move on. So what is your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is a show I've talked about before. This show helped define kind of myself, and it ran from January 16th, 1995 to November 22nd, 1999. Had 6 seasons. It was the sequel series to a 5-film series.
Oh, okay.
And is available on Amazon Prime.
Interesting.
Hercules.
Oh, Hercules. Okay. Is that you're talking about the old Hercules, right?
Yes, with Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah.
Yes. This, first off, I will say, I watched this show before I watched the movies. I didn't even know there were movies about it.
Isn't Hercules, who plays Hercules in the movies? It's like a really famous guy.
Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo plays Hercules throughout all of it.
Oh, okay.
The 5 films are the trials of Hercules. And then the series is his life after the movies. Which, in retrospect, I think is an amazing way to do it. It'd basically be like doing the Iron Man movies and then making a series of Iron Man living his life with Pepper Potts and his daughter during the snap.
Huh. Spoilers.
Spoilers. That is the most well-known stuff ever in today's society, probably.
So get to Hercules.
So, Hercules is just a great series. It is comedy. It is action. It is adventure, romance. It has a little bit of everything in it at some point. It introduces great characters. It even has a spin-off series that was very successful, Xena the Warrior Princess.
Oh, I didn't know that was a spin-off series. I was actually going to make a comment saying I'm surprised that Xena is not on your list of honorable mentions or something.
No, well, yeah, because it is a spin-off series of Hercules because Xena was introduced in Hercules, and the character was so well liked that they're like, let's give her a show.
I had no idea it was a spin-off. No clue. That's another show that my mom absolutely loved and watched all the time when I was growing up.
Understandable, because it is a great show as well. What's great, or what, not, I don't really notice. What is interesting is that Lucy Lawless, who plays Xena, was originally not Xena in the Hercules franchise. She was another character. Then they brought her back to play Xena, which I was like, wait, isn't that the one chick? And I'm like, oh no, I guess it's a different character. But yeah, so she actually plays two characters in the Hercules franchise. They even did an animated movie animated movie where it had Xena and Hercules going up against the Titans. Okay. So, love the series. It is it's basically a show about, like, you have all of this power. It is a Spider-Man kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, with great power. Comes great responsibility. And like Hercules takes that to heart. He travels the area and just tries to help as many people as he can with his powers. And it is a great way of just, like, if you're wanting to teach your kids not to be a dick, have them watch the show and hopefully they'll pick that up, because that's one of the things I picked up from this is if you are not going to help people, then you don't have to worsen their situation. If you are going to meet people and you can help them, or just move on. Just don't be a dick, basically.
That's the takeaway, everybody. Don't be a dick.
Yes, that is the entire takeaway of Hercules.
You need to watch Hercules to know not to be a dick.
Yeah. It is like, I used to go to church and whatnot, and I'm like, so basically the rules are, don't be a dick. I picked this up when I watched Hercules. I didn't need to do it. It was whatever.
Your church has no need for me. I learned it in Hercules.
Yeah, like whatever. This is probably, like, it's not a superhero comic book or anything, or at least that I know of. But this is how I rate comic books and stuff. This is the kind of hero I want my heroes to be, Hercules. So yeah, that is my number 3. Okay. It is available on Amazon Prime, the entire series.
Cool.
6 seasons. Highly recommend. If you're wanting another great binger, I watched this when I was on the road a lot for my first job.
Okay.
I watched it again to kind of see if it, like, held up, because it had been close to 10 years or so since I'd watched it. And it did. I still loved the characters. Love Bruce Campbell's character. He's like the self-appointed Prince of Thieves. Aeolus it's another. This actually might be the show that introduced my love of, like, buddy comedy kind of stuff, because Hercules and Aeolus are a great buddy comedy, but they're definitely not like JD and Turk. They are best friends, but they do have conflict with each other every once in a while.
Yeah.
And it just a great, like, life lessons. If you're wanting to just learn about how to deal with shit, watch it. It helps you get through some shit.
Well, there you go. I mean, every show has another meaning to somebody else.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that moves on to my number 3. And you remember how I told you that South Park is one of my styles of comedy? This is my other style of comedy. This show was on from 2005 to 2013. I guess the only place you can watch it now is Peacock, and that is the U.S. version of The Office.
Okay, I figured this would be on your list at some point.
I feel like it's on everybody's list. Like, most people in America, at least, love The Office.
Not mine.
Yeah,
only because I haven't seen it.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. But no, I like the cringy style of comedy as well, and that is The Office to a T. It's cringe comedy. I love cringe comedy. I love dark comedy. Those are two of my favorite types of comedy, and these are the two best shows to describe them. I've never seen the British Office, but I love the U.S. Office. Michael Scott is pretty much the greatest character ever made in The Office.
I know that they did a, like, sort of cameo with Gervais.
Yeah, they did. Ricky Gervais did as a cameo, yes.
Yeah. So they kind of, like, blended the two together at one point.
Yeah, I love The Office because of the style of comedy. I think I've seen the entire series, I want to say 4 times. I've watched it 4 times through.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. And like I said, it's a, I want to say, let's see, it's a 7 year show. No, it's more
It
than that.
is 9 seasons.
9 seasons. That's it.
And the British one had 2.
Yeah, I love this show because of the character development, the style of comedy. It's a really good show to put on in the background, especially if you've seen it already. It's one of those shows. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go do the dishes, or I'm gonna go cook dinner. I want something on the background. I'm gonna throw The Office on the background, kind of thing.
Okay.
When we worked together at our old job, I would throw this on the background of me working.
I completely understand that. Actually, my number 2 pick is a lot like that as well.
Yeah, there's nothing really much to say about The Office, but that most people don't already know is that it's a really good, easy to watch, relaxing comedy that, unlike Nate, most people can get into.
It's not that I can't get into it. I just have never tried to get into it.
Well, you better get a Peacock subscription now to watch it.
Yeah. I might, because apparently that is the only way for me to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah, Peacock owns Brooklyn now.
Yeah.
Yuck. So, yeah, that's my number 3 is The Office. I feel like that's a lot of people's number 1.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
I don't think I've ever met, besides you, I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't like The Office.
Again,
you haven't seen it, though.
Yeah. I'm like,
I don't think I've actually met anybody who's like, dude, I hate The Office.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've ever heard a negative thing about The Office at all. It's always been, it's a fun, campy kind of show about everyday life in an office. Like,
yep. I'm
like, okay.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Whoa! I am surprised that is on your list.
No, this is...
Oh, you're about to make one of our Facebook commenters very happy.
It ran from September 28th, 1987 to May 23rd, 1994.
Man,
had 7 seasons.
I know the person who commented on our Facebook, I'll get to at the end, listens to these, and she is going to be very happy this is on your list.
Yeah, this is, like I mentioned while you're in the office, talking about The Office, this is a great show to put on in the background, and whatnot. Is available on Paramount Plus. This show was my first introduction to the franchise of Star Trek.
See, for me, real quick, the only Star Trek stuff I like is the remake movies that they made in 2009.
They're good.
But the reason is because they're action-y instead of being drama bold crap that I don't care about.
Yeah. And that's kind of the reason why I like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Is
that the one with Picard?
Yes, it is Captain Picard.
Which is
Jean-Luc.
No,
the character's name.
Is it Jon Stewart or no?
No.
What's the actor's name?
Let's see.
Oh, come on. It's something Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, yes.
Yes. Good old Xavier.
Good old Patty Stewart.
This show, the reason I love it so much is because it tackles a lot of ethical situations.
Would you say this is the show that got you into your love for like Mass Effect and stuff like that? All those like sci-fi style video games and movies and stuff?
Most definitely. One of the things I love about Star Trek is that it is a franchise of exploring the unknown. They have set guidelines specifically on how to deal with the unknown, called the Prime Directive. In Star Trek: The Next Generation, Captain Picard, I love him as a captain. I love him as a character. He is like supposed to be an amazing member of the Federation. He is a shit member of the Federation in the spirit of the rules. He breaks them all the time because of ethics. It's a show that basically states that you have these laws, you have these rules, But sometimes you have to break those rules, you have to break those laws in order for your ethics to be paramount.
Paramount Plus.
Yes, which you can watch it there. It is like one of my favorite episodes is when they're defining Data. Data is a lieutenant commander. He is an android.
Yeah, it was like cyborg or android, one of the two.
Yeah, he is a android. He has no access to emotions. Well, yeah, not gonna
Don't get into
part.
that. Don't get it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because my mom loved this show.
But I'm just like for our listeners, his whole character arc is he pursues to be a better human. That's it. He wants to be human, which I find very admirable, especially considering the way he goes about it for the most part of the series. There is a specific episode where they have to basically decide, is he an individual who is his own being, his own entity, or is he an item, the property of the Federation?
Interesting.
And it's situations like that throughout the series, because that's just a small scale bit of it that I love. I love when they question the norm against evolution of society. Do we need to stay here, or if we're going to be better, do we need to move there?
Huh.
And this show helped me see a bunch of societal issues going through it. And I hold my own opinions to myself. I don't try to push my opinions on anyone, simply because I don't know what those people are going through. I don't know all of this information. If I did, maybe I would, but I don't, so I try not to. This is the reason why. Because you can never know the full story of a situation. And this is a great show when you're wanting to, first off, enjoy a great space exploration, see some fantastic species and meet new characters and whatnot, and question yourself, question your beliefs in society, question your beliefs in yourself, and try to grow as a human being, or grow, or even stay the same. It's completely up to you.
See, you're sitting here talking about your shows like, oh, this is such a good way to change who you are and grow as a person. I'm over here like South Park.
Again, it's different strokes for people. My favorite shows are shows that helped develop me as the person you know.
And that totally makes sense.
And they made massive impacts, which I know quite a few people who are like, that is ridiculous to base your personality, your life around TV shows that you've seen is ridiculous. But my whole argument for that is you grow as you experience things in life. There are things in shows that you may not experience in life that allow you to grow that way.
Right. Well, I can see why that's your number 2.
Yes. Highly recommend it. Like I said, on Paramount Plus, numerous times we've said this, I think.
Yep.
And a great, like your coworker said, just to put on in the background to listen. Because personally, I like hearing the voices of the characters. They're pretty calming to me.
Yeah. All right, so that moves on to my number 2. And my number 2 is probably going to surprise you, honestly.
All right.
My number 2 is the show Lost. It ran from 2004 to 2010. You ever see Lost?
No. It does surprise me it's on your number 2. I figured it'd be in like your top 20, but not.
No. I love this show.
I guess because of the ending is why I thought you.
I love the
put it
ending.
In your top 20. Really?
I
thought you were.
No, I'm one of the people that actually enjoyed the ending, and people don't understand the ending, and I have to explain the ending to them, which I'm not doing because it spoils the entire series. So I'm not doing that.
Okay.
But yes, it is one of those shows that I absolutely loved watching. I didn't actually watch this that much on TV because I was a little young when it came out. It came out in 2004, so I didn't understand what was going on. But when it came to Hulu, I don't know if it's still on Hulu, but when it came to Hulu, when I was a little older, I was probably early 20s when I watched it, man, I fell in love with this show. I love the mystery of trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I love all the characters in the show trying to figure out what the hell is going on. There's a theme. Yeah, the entire show is just you trying to figure out what this island's what?
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, what's going on with this island? Who are these characters? Who are these people? How did this happen? Like, and it goes into some supernatural stuff. Like, there's a lot of like crazy, weird stuff that happens in this show, and I'm all for it. I'm all down for everything.
See, had I known you like this so much, there is a manga I would have recommended to you because there is a manga a lot like Lost.
Really?
When you were asking about manga recommendations one point, I would have been like, this, you need to read this.
So in Lost, there's also the introduction to one of my favorite actors who has a smaller role. Again, I'm not going to get into too much spoilers because he is a pretty big spoiler, but he plays a character. You know him as Lucifer in Supernatural. That actor plays another similar style character in Lost towards like the middle to end of the series, and he's such a good character. And this is what introduced me to that actor. And then when he showed up in in Supernatural, I was like, "Whoa, it's that guy!" And yeah, I was super happy, and that's why Lucifer is a really awesome character in Supernatural. Is part of it because of the actor. But yeah,
I do agree with that. You played an amazing Lucifer.
But yeah, that is my second favorite show. I highly recommend to anybody who hasn't seen it. I feel like it's been talked about so much, though, that the ending's kind of been spoiled. It's one of those shows that's like, once you watch it all the way through, it's kind of like, do I need to rewatch this? You know?
Yeah.
But I did. I've seen it. I've seen this show like 3 or 4 times. I love this show.
It is still on Hulu.
It is still on Hulu. Cool.
Yes.
Man, I need to go through it again. I love this show. I love the numbers. I love, everything about it. I don't want to get into so much of spoilage I can't talk about. But yeah, highly recommend. Nate, you have not seen the show. Highly recommend it to you. Please watch it.
I will give it real consideration because it does sound.
It is. Does it help that the guy from Supernatural's in it? Does that help at all?
No. Mainly because I was not all right. I am not that big of a fan of that character / actor.
All right, here's something else to help you get into the movie or TV show without getting into spoilers. It has romance, it has mystery, it has time travel, it has supernatural elements, and it has what the fuck is going on throughout the entire show. So
yes, I will probably try to give this a shot. It is being added to my list, whereas it was not on the list.
Yeah, highly recommend. So that is my number 2. What is your number 1 favorite movie of all time or TV show of all time?
This one might surprise you.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever really talked about it ever.
Okay.
It ran from July 18th, 2006 to July 16th, 2012. It had 5 seasons, and it is available on Amazon Prime in its entirety.
Okay.
It is called Eureka.
Oh, yeah, you've talked about that a ton.
I absolutely love this show. From the very first episode to the very last episode. As much, and it is also the only show that I would not want them to like keep going right now. Okay. Like if they did a remake or something like that, okay. Or if they started it where like it's years past and we're getting a new cast of characters, okay. But the way they ended it with all of the characters in the final episode, at least, I'm happy with that. That is It is a great conclusion to the entire series and all the characters. I wouldn't want it to continue from that.
That's surprising. I mean, it's understandable. A lot of shows definitely shouldn't have continued.
One of the reasons why, one of the many reasons I love this show is because it had holiday specials, which is a thing that I think shows should have more of. Not many shows do holiday specials anymore. It's one of the reasons why I like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine show so much is because they did Halloween specials.
Yep.
This one, they did Christmas specials.
That's pretty
cool. The way they did them were just really fun and entertaining because there was usually, like the very first one was him telling kids a tale of one of the days they had during Christmas. The show itself is about a marshal going to a town and finding out that the town is a secret government town filled with absolute geniuses. Every single person there is just mind-boggling smart. And he is not. He's a basic guy. He's just an average dude. And he gets recruited to be the sheriff of this town. And it's usually his simple thinking that saves the day because everyone overthinks everything. They're like, oh, well, that's not possible. And he's like, but what if you just did this? And they're like, well, oh, fuck, why didn't we think of that? Like, it is great. It has time travel. It has a bit of mystery. Not much, honestly, but the characters, I love the characters. And this is the only show where my favorite character is tied between the protag and his best friend.
Wow, look at you.
It's not just the protag this time.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, where can people find this show?
You can watch this show on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yes. It also has a character named Henry Deacon in it, which is the main character's best friend. And he is just like one of my favorite little character qualities is a jack of all trades kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what he is. If there is a problem that the main character is like, I don't know what this means, it's him. He goes to like, hey, can you explain this to dumb terms? And he's like, yeah, no problem. I got you, bump guy. Let's do this. And it just also a great, like, good chemistry between all of the characters, good buddy friendship. And it also has the voice actress from Gargoyles in it, Eliza Maza.
Nice.
She is the main love interest in this series.
Nice.
So, yeah, highly recommend this one. Cannot recommend it enough. It has a couple of comics, which were a lot darker than the show. Holy shit. Understandably, like, apparently the comic was made to based off of a episode that they're like, yeah, we're not gonna run this as an episode. And they're like, okay. They made it a comic, and I completely understand why. It does not fit the tone of the show whatsoever. It is a lot more brutal, but still highly recommend it. It's a fun comic. It's not very long. I think it's like 3 issues, if that. Not even that, really.
Okay.
So yeah, if you are looking for a good, just kind of sci-fi show, this is it. It's a town in the middle of nowhere, filled to the brim of super high-tech stuff.
Well, that sounds like your type of show for sure.
Yes, detectives, high-tech, and love.
Love. All right, well, that brings me to the final thing, and that is my number 1. And it is a show I cannot believe is not on your top 10, Nate. I just absolutely cannot believe it's not on your top 10.
All right, what is it?
What if I said the words, "Carry on my wayward son"?
Oh, yeah. That actually, I was like, Rayson's like going to be so disappointed that this is not in my top 10. I almost like it was going to be an honorable mention, but I was like, it's going to be in Raceland's list. I don't need to honorable mention it.
My number one pick is the show Supernatural.
Yeah.
It's obviously my number one pick. It ran from 2005 to 2020. Me and Nate talk about it nonstop all the time. That's why I'm like, why hasn't Nate mentioned it yet? We're on 4. We're on 3. We're on 2. Where is it, Nate?
Yeah, no. So first off, go talk about why this is your favorite show, and then I'll tell you why this is not on my list.
All right, this is the perfect brother show. This is 2 brothers fighting demons and angels and all sorts of supernatural nonsense. And it has such great character growth, character development, so many fun characters even. There's not a single negative thing about the show, honestly. Like, I don't know about you. I've seen this show in its entirety 3 times. Keep in mind, that is 15 years of content, and I've gone through it 3 times.
Yeah. I've probably seen it, not 3 times.
Yeah.
Because I watched it originally when it aired.
I didn't.
And then I watched it again when I met you, when we were talking about it. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of missing me some Supernatural. And then I watched it again when COVID hit, and I was just binge watching a bunch of other shows. So I
rewatched it recently, I would say in the last 2 years, because my wife had never seen it. And I said, wife, you are going to love this show. And she's like,
and that is how he talks to his wife?
No, I just didn't want to mention her name. I didn't want to mention her name. So
very caveman like, wife.
Listen, woman. No.
Yeah.
No, I told her, I think you really might like the show. And she's like, because we just finished Buffy. And she'd never seen Buffy, and she really liked Buffy. So I was like,
oh, yeah.
I was like, if you liked Buffy, I'm going to show you the show Supernatural. And she's like, I don't know. And so we tried it, and she wasn't getting into it. And I'm like, oh, no. Because season 1, I admit, season 1 is very hard to start in. So what I did is like, oh, all right, instead of season 1, because season 1 has like 25 episodes, and it's always just like, new case. It's not really much story. It's a very small story behind each episode being a different thing. So I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to sum up season 1 for you in about 15 minutes. And then we're going to start at season 2. She's like, all right, I'll give season 2 a shot. And that's exactly what we did. I summed it up for her. Started season 2. She fell in love immediately. She loves Supernatural now. To the point where she went out and bought like coffee mugs and blankets and stuff about Supernatural.
What you should have done is start in season 2. Then at a certain point, when one of the brothers inevitably dies.
That never happens.
Yeah, never. Go back to season 1 and treat it as a death dream.
Yeah,
like
I'm not
they're
doing
remembering how it all began.
I'm not going to do all that.
That's how you watch Supernatural.
No.
Is you just treat season 1 as a death dream, like they're dying and they're just remembering how it all began.
So yeah,
that way you got that hook in.
Supernatural is my favorite show of all time, and we mentioned before, one of my favorite characters is Lucifer because of that actor and his character on Lost. That show's so good. Like, there's nothing negative about that show.
I really did like that show. I love the lore of that show.
Oh, for sure.
They build the world out amazingly. Really wish they would have like delved out into further media. Like, I think they have some comics, but the game they have out is not that great.
I didn't even know they had a game, to be honest.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I could be thinking of a completely different franchise, but I'm pretty sure they do have a video game, or maybe it was canceled. Maybe it was just planned.
I don't know.
Either way, they need to delve into video games because the world they have built would be perfect for numerous style of video games, especially with the horror video game franchise booming as it is right now. The reason this was not on my list is because
it's a crime against humanity.
As much as I love the show, it was very predictable.
Oh, get out of here.
No. You can't tell me that after season 4 and like their 8th death, you couldn't at the beginning of the season be like, okay, so one of them will die at the end of the season, and the other one will bring them back.
Huh. Well, I love the show, and I don't care how predictable it is. It's my favorite show of all time, and it probably will never change.
Am I wrong?
No, you're completely wrong. Yeah. Anyways, so that is going to be the end of the podcast because we gotta wrap this up. We're hitting to the 2-hour mark.
That's fine.
We do have some comments. I have one comment from Clarence at my work, and he said his favorite show. This is a guy almost 40 years old, or he's in his 40s, and he said his very favorite show is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
I was like, hey, I love that show.
I never really got into it too much, but
terrible. Anyways,
I do know a lot of people who did.
We also have comments on Facebook. I don't think we have any Discord ones, but we do have Facebook comments. One from Tammy. I had to pull this up. There's a long. She says, I can narrow my top 5 down to basic genres, but they include several series that work together as one. You're going to like these comments, Nate. Star Trek, the original. Star Trek, The Next Generation. Voyager. Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, Angel/Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Starsky and Hutch, CSI/NCSI type shows, and MASH.
Okay. Yeah. Those are all really good shows.
Then we have another comment from Sandy, who I think she misread what I posted when I said TV shows. Because she commented a bunch of movies that she liked, and I was like, no. We're talking about shows, and she's like, oh, I misread that. And she posted, I did miss it, but in the time-lapse distance still applies Western/Carol Burnett. That's what she posted.
Okay. Carol Burnett show is a really funny show.
So she had a big old list of movies, and I'm like, no. You misread you misread it. So yeah, that is the comments that we got. If you'd like to comment anything, the links are in the description below. We got Facebook, Discord, my Twitter. You can tweet me, anything like that. You got anything else to say about our top 10 favorite TV shows?
Not really. I did cut out quite a few honorable mentions, so we wouldn't go too far.
Yeah, because I said no honorable mentions, but that's fine.
We had like 8, most of them for you.
That's not true at all.
I mentioned one. Okay. You mentioned several.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, if you want to be a part of anything, there's descriptions in the link below for Discord, Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. See you later.